Hello there, let's be fast and jump right into it. For this strategy, we have to build up Wolfar's Groove as fast as we can, and we do that on the first turn by baiting the enemy sword with our own on the beach. We want Groove on turn 4 to be able to golf something across the map at Caesar to trigger the event where he notices you. On the twin side, we have to hurry across this corridor as fast as we can to reach our win condition at the end of it. We rush in and place our mage in a spot so that he can reach the lever to the first cage next turn and help us bring down the first barracks. On this enemy phase, we need to pray to the RNG a first time to preserve the twins' HP at 68% or above for the next turn to manipulate the incoming dog's action. Here, Wolfar cleans up the sword and places himself as bait for the archer, which will serve as his second kill to get Groove. Our thief ransacks the village from the east for two reasons. First, to let the archer capture from the north, as he needs to move all three squares, but also to bait the southern mage and let our allies about to be freed the space to take down this barracks. We build a pipe because we'll need a crit soon. In the hallway, the archer cleans up the way for our MVP mage who frees the first captives. The two pikes can't go out yet because of the forest and the enemy mage guarding nearby, but ours can just step out and nobody will stop him. We keep up the gas pedal moving forward as much as we can, and because we have above 71% HP, the dog will elect to go for the archer, saving HP for the commander. The rest is positioning for a next turn cleanup. This enemy phase might look scary because we take a lot of damage on the twins, but our strategy actually requires us to take a precise amount of damage to manipulate the AI on turn 4. On Wolfer's side, the archers kindly stepped in front of a commander that can easily one-shot him, and we are gonna thank him for that. Now all that's left to do is to kill this mage that wanted revenge for the village he probably knew someone from, and prepare to crit a lot next turn. We build a mage because a dragon is coming. We keep advancing down the pathway, and from this position our mage can reach the rightmost lever in 3 turns if he uses his full move. Note that the only thing that the two slow pikes behind us are contributing so far is killing a dog, and we had to trade half our archer's health for that. The heal on the tweens keep them around the right amount of HP we want, but the health on the archer is quite irrelevant as it doesn't make killing enemies easier. On the other side of the wall, the mage can just crit the sword that just spawned, and we can start taking down the racks with our now free pike. The enemies attack into Wolfar, but little did they know, they are setting themselves up perfectly for 4 different crits the next turn. For some reason, they do not position properly if the mage was just built on the southern side of the barracks. Here we have the pike crit first, then the archer crit, the sword crit, and then the unnecessary mage crit, before the most important move of this player phase being Wolfar golfing a knight at Caesar to make him quote unquote notice us. On this side, the enemies have formed up a line, but that isn't how a linear front works, I'm afraid. We take out the barracks before making a checkpoint, because, as mentioned before, we need a lot of things to go our way to get through turn 4 enemy phase like we want to. We make a checkpoint because we have the option to attack the pike with our archer or commander first, and we have the option to attack the dog with our mage or not. These actions let us tweak our commander's HP a bit, and the checkpoint gives us 4 chances instead of 1 and saves us about 30 minutes of resetting. What we hope for is the archer seeing a lethal on the twins but low rolling. This way he leaves our very important mage alone. Now, because of our golf maneuver earlier, we triggered the event where Caesar notices the twins, but what happens instead is that Caesar's army is lured towards Wolfar, who is closer at this point, clearing the way for our mage, save a few enemies. We make another checkpoint here because we are now out of our hard scripted moves. We might make mistakes, and we will need AI to position itself in a way that doesn't block our plan for turn 9. As we get out of the scripted moves, I'll also get out of the scripted voiceover. All we need to do on Wolfer's side is basically hold our own until turn 9. We need to preserve somewhat control of this ground, and we build a wagon that will be very useful for our turn 9 strategy, abusing the fact that we have two commanders playing one after the other on this map. On the twin side, we basically just need to survive and make sure that the archer is weakened so that he cannot kill the mage when he goes for it next turn. Because if we left the archer at full health, the sword plus the mage would actually kill him. We also end our turn with 300 gold, and that is because we anticipate having the mage to heal himself to survive this turn, but luckily this wasn't necessary here, so we have some extra budget on our hands, I guess. Here's the dragon I was talking about earlier. The AI seems to always build a dragon that seems to always arrive around turn 6 or 7, and that pike up north is alone, so there's nothing much he can do. Besides, we already have a mage ready to take care of him. We reinforce the thief here because sometimes when he goes down to ransack the village, an archer or a harpy actually goes and takes him down, and what happened once was actually that the gold that Caesar got back from killing the thief ended up ruining my entire strategy by blocking the units that advance upon the HQ on the right. Something we also need to keep in mind is that Wolfar will need to get groove for turn 9, so we cannot groove until turn 9 because right now we're on turn 6. If we were to groove on turn 7, then it would take 2 turns to get our groove back minimum, so we would, and since we need Wolfar groove on turn 9 for this strategy to work, well, we can't groove a golem or a dragon and get rid of it, even though this map is quite generous with what you can do with Wolfer's Groove, as there are flagstones all over the inside of the building, and there's also water for you to gulf the golem into. Now our mage finally freed the squad of prisoners behind the stronghold, which is quite a dangerous move by Caesar placing that there, because now that his army is distracted, and his army has already moved away from this HQ, and in most cases the army actually doesn't move back to defend the HQ even when your squad from there begins marching on it. That is a quite questionable decision, but we're not gonna complain because that allows this strategy to work. And, well, can you really expect that much from Caesar? I mean, he might be one of the strongest commanders in Wargroove, and he might be a very good dog. It doesn't mean that he can keep track of everything that happens on the battlefield, especially when something like one of your knights just got gulfed across the river onto you. Now we just put our pike into the wagon, but what you have to notice, and well, really a strategy that was and that I still employ in 2v2 when both players on the same team can play one after the other, and that used to be very very strong in 1.3 because balloons could store trebuchets and, well, knights. The thing is, when you drop them, specifically when the first player drops a unit from the second player from transport, that unit will immediately be able to act, and you can imagine all the fun stuff we can do with this. And additionally, what we also use is the fact that even if Wolfar's Groove supposedly makes the unit that's golf turns end, well, that doesn't really matter when the unit that we're golfing is the second player's unit because, well, they still get their turn back, which kind of negates half of the negatives of Wolfer's Groove. Now, there won't be much of the interesting plays and precise positioning that we did earlier because here it's just about, well, holding your ground. The most, like, the most threats we face are from the dragon that we already took care of because we had 4 mages ready for him, and this golem which kind of is a thorn on our side because we can't just get rid of him with Wolfar, but by dedicating enough resources to it, you can basically keep up with what Caesar throws at you, and we also have the units from the second cage to help us, so there's that. You can also notice that we stopped producing units at some point, and the reason for that is we know that the match is going to end on turn 9, or well, if it doesn't, we'll just reset to try to make it end on turn 9. And so we just save up money, and all these mages can spend this money for heals that make it easier for us to hold this ground. And now I have to say, I never thought that Wolfar Groove would not have enough range. And in this case, in our strategy for this map, it actually matters because there were times where Caesar's army just pushed me back too far away, and I couldn't use the groove to get reinforcements and a hit on the HQ, and these were quite sad times, but we've will hopefully overcome that later. Um, a side note, since the twins down aren't really doing much, they just went and captured a village. That's simply because one run, um, I had 2 mages near the HQ and, well, I didn't have enough money to heal and get the lethal, so that's why I captured this village, just in case a situation like that arises. Now, the wagon drops a purple pike and Wolfar golfs that purple pike not only onto the stronghold but also damaging the sword blocking our path, which allows us to actually get units to hit the HQ, and there we go. That's Cherrystone 1 completed in 9 turns. And we'll see you next time for other maps from Double Trouble. Just wanted to say in this end that this isn't a guide, and if you want to replicate this, you better have 4 or 5 hours, and even more if you want to do it with an S rank.